Namco's up next, and they are going to take flight with the little game that they called Air Combat. This one's pretty good. It's also called Ace Combat in Japan, and yeah, that's what this series is going to turn into. And it's a pretty good one, if you ask me. I've played Assault Horizon Legacy on the 3DS. That is a remake of Ace Combat 2. Own a few others, 4, 5, and I think the PSP game. I've not played those. And besides, this one is all about where it started. Well, sort of. You'll see what I mean when we get going. And we're going right now.
Gentlemen, you are the cream of the world's air forces. This country desperately needs your help. 6 months ago, an extremely well-armed and organized terrorist force carried out a coup d'etat. Attempts to free our country have been foiled by repeated surprise attacks. To avoid escalating this war and causing unacceptable civilian losses, we wish to employ your services. Surgical airstrikes and the elimination of enemy air superiority will tip the scales in our favor. You will receive remuneration commensurate with your positions as the premier top guns of the world.
This game usually has 10 to 15 second load times for going to the map or loading into a mission. It's honestly not that bad considering the size of the maps, I guess. In the grand scheme of things, though, I don't want to always leave those in there, so I'll be chopping a good chunk of that loading time out. It's mostly about the game here. Still, we've got, as you can see, 2 planes that we can work with in these missions to start. We will unlock more later, and we'll show you how you do that as you go along. Spoiler, it's about shooting down other targets. Go figure. In any case, I'd like to say more, but I think our commanding officer has a little briefing for us.
This is an evaluation of your operational abilities. Intelligence reports an enemy supply unit moving to resupply their forward positions. You should have the advantage of surprise. We should have localized air superiority for the duration of the operation. Target, C5A supply unit.
Now, what you get here before the mission is your briefing, which we heard, and you get to see the map, the general area anyway, of what we're going to be doing. In this mission, we've got 6 targets, anything that are in those yellow circles there. 2 planes alongside them we do not have to deal with, but it probably will make our lives easier since they're fighter jets. In easy and normal mode, it's a MiG-31 and an F-4. In hard mode, you actually get twice as many enemies for this mission. It's a different setup depending on what you do. I chose normal mode here for one big reason. You get unlocks that you wouldn't get in easy mode. Like, you know, the planes that I'd like to be flying. In any case, for the start of these missions, I'm going to keep quiet and let the music play through once, because it's kind of good.
Ready? Break now! Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let him get away! Great shot! Great shot! Wait! On the right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Jesus, miss! Enemy in sight. On our right! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot it down! Bingo! Yahoo! Don't let him get away! Jesus, miss! Don't let him get away! Stay with me, he's wasted!
So, as you saw, using missiles is a lot more effective than guns at a distance. Go figure. Sometimes my brain just doesn't understand that fact, but to be fair, I want to conserve ammo. But you really don't have to, at least in these early missions that we're going to be playing. You have tons of missiles to work with, and usually 2 or 3 are enough to take down any threat here. And most of these enemies aren't threats. When you have multiple targets, you can switch by pressing triangle if you want, but usually I just focus on one at a time. See you later. Well, there's one of our fighter jets that's going to try to get us, but no, I don't think so. Came in at a pretty cold angle there. And that takes care of that guy. So, while you're flying around, there are multiple things you can do. You can press square to bring up the map. You can actually press select if you want to go into a third-person view. I think we do that in one of these missions. In the grand scheme of things, though, I actually like flying in first person in this game. It just looks better. Yeah, these planes, not exactly a threat, but you know what? That's a good thing. Yeah, there we go. This looks wrong to me.
Enemy inside. Up ahead.
Besides, you kind of lose out on the radar when you're outside of the cockpit like this.
Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot him down. Great shot. Back one. Fire. Enemy target.
Let's get back into first-person view before we finish this mission off by taking this plane down. Get right up in front of them. You know, shoot your missiles at 100 feet away. Come on, man.
Mission accomplished.
Got ourselves a decent amount of money from that mission. Let's see if it's good enough to get ourselves a new ride. F-14's pretty good, though. I don't really know about the stealth one. Not in this game. Ah, the MiG-31. That would be fun to fly, but 60,000 credits short. Guess we're not getting anything this time. Doggone it. How about we go and fix that by taking on another mission? Sounds good to me.
Immediate mobilization required. Our base's position was compromised in the last enemy push. Reports indicate imminent arrival of bombers. Scramble and ace those bogies. Target, B-52 Bomber Force.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Closing on our 6. On our left! Up ahead! On our right! Closing on our 6. Let's return to mission, buddy! Closing on our 6. Up ahead! Closing on our 6. On our left! Closing on our 6. Up ahead! Take off! On our right!
Ignoring the fact that I think we just got juked by the slowest plane in the game, let's actually talk about air/ace combat here. Like I said, this is the first game in the series on consoles, but Namco actually made a couple games before this that were called that in arcades. They had Air Combat in 1993 off their System 21 hardware, and then a couple of years later, a few months before the release of this game, they had Air Combat 22, which, you know, that's probably the best way to take down a plane right there, is just to fly within 10 feet of it and then shoot a missile right at it. You will not blow yourself up. Nope. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Air Combat 22 was on the System 22 arcade hardware of Namco's. Both of those games were one you versus a squadron of 6, and it get a little difficult. Like for each level, you get about a minute to shoot them down. You get more time the faster you are to keep going. Obviously, this is the first one with a campaign mode, and it's a pretty fun campaign from what I've seen so far. Obviously, we're still in the early stretches. No, not every mission's going to be looking like this. It's going to change things up pretty darn well. I'm surprised I actually took that one down. Yep, they said on our right, but I know there's one on our left, and we gotta take this one down because this is one of our targets. There we go. Man, we really let the enemy spread out here. Guess I was too focused on the non-essential targets because I wanted that money for later. Turning on the afterburners by hitting R1 to catch up to these things because, yeah, you know, our fuel's, it's not super low, but at the same time, you kind of want to not embarrass yourself to everyone watching. In the second mission, that would be silly. Our CO just said return to mission, buddy. It's like, I am. I gotta get back here, though. There we go. Still got one out there, I think. Let's just make sure by hitting square in a second. Oh, never mind. Don't have to. Right there. Not the easiest mission accomplished there, but we got it. They did get a couple hits on us right near the end, though. Also, I like how that first mission is worth 5 million credits, and now the second one's only worth 1 million. I think we got front-loaded in our pay there. But that's going to be more than enough to be able to buy the MiG-31, and that is definitely the plane of choice for me in the early going. So let's go into the hangar here and pick her up. Oh wait, first we want to save and show this screen off, just to show that, yeah, it exists. Get your memory card going, get your save in, get right back to the action. Because I will say, if your planes get shot down, if you run out of them, game over. Go figure. Not gonna buy that stealth thing, I don't see much of a purpose for it, at least in the early going. You'd have to be pretty silly to fly one of those things. And that sounds like we're setting up a brick joke for the end of the video, aren't we? Sure does.
AWACS reports an enemy incursion in our sector. We are diverting you from local air support to forward operations. Neutralize the approaching units. Target enemy attacking force. Formation makeup is unknown. Expect enemy fighter support and a tough dogfight. Good luck.
Ready? Break now! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Wasted! Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Fire! Take off! On our left! Enemy in sight. On our right! Enemy on our left! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Down! Bogey on our 6. On our left! Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Fire! Step back one! Bogey on our 6. Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Bogey on our tail! On our left! Up ahead! Enemy locked on target. Fire! Bogey on our 6.
Oh, that song is so good, man. I love it. This gets you pumped up and ready for action. And you know what? That's kind of good in a combat flight game. Oh, as we approach this plane here, Watch right underneath the center of the screen. I mentioned it before. I think I said under the radar. No, it's under the center of the screen where it's going to say fire. You fire a missile then, instant hit. If you try to do that before you see fire, and that's going to happen no matter what in certain instances, the enemy forces can evade your shots. I wouldn't even say it's annoying just because you can just swing around and get them the next time. And sometimes you get enemy planes that like to fly straight at you and not shoot. This next poor sucker is going to find that out in just about a few seconds. Like, look at this. It's like you'd think he'd take a shot at us, but you'd be wrong. Toast. Our CO has a lot of chatter going on. I do think that gets a little too much in this one, but to be fair, it is the first game, and sometimes my own flying's put me in that scenario. There you go. This mission's starting to pick up a little bit. After that early opening where it always seems like the first part of the mission I'm a little hesitant to take these planes down, but you know, this is a video game and it's okay to do that. Now in a situation like that where you're turning into a shot and they're driving straight by you, so it's kind of like they're going diagonally, that's the worst time to fire a missile. They're going to easily evade those. Isn't going to stop me from trying to shoot them down, though, like that. In any case, we're getting close to the end of this mission, I do believe. I think these are the last two. But yeah, this game has an awesome soundtrack. Oh, whoop, whoop, whoop. Don't be trying to go too slow there when making your turn, or you will stall. You'll also stall if you keep trying to climb straight up. You know, this game has some flight sim elements to it. I still think it's more arcade-like action than a sim, but does it matter? As long as it's fun. And this game is definitely fun. Although we did take a couple hits there, we gotta be careful. Thankfully, like I said, I think this is the last one, and it is in position to get shot. As I said, this enemy is the last one, I think, and it's in position to get shot down. Thank you. Decent rewards there. Still not as good as that first mission, though. Anyway, our next mission's actually going to be somewhat different. You'll see what I mean when we get there. But we also have a new surprise, as if you look in the top right, we have the ability to get a wingman to join us. What's that all about? Let's find out.
Up to now, our offensive missions have been constrained by the presence of civilians in Donut City. A recent evacuation of that city permits us to engage hard targets within the city perimeter. Target 1, Computer Communications Center. Target 2, Enemy Headquarters Building. Night conditions should neutralize enemy ground fire. However, the city has at least 3 interceptors available. We have no intelligence on force composition. From now on, you will have a wingman assigned to you. Inform him of the operation before departure.
Okay, so now we can hire ourselves a partner called a wingman. You can only have one on the field with you at times. We're going to take one with us just to show what it's like. I do like having one with me because it does take a little bit of heat off you. Granted, these are still the early missions. I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue either way. We're going to take Philip here, and he has 3 strategies you can use. All of them do. You can either keep them with you with Guard Your Tail, have them go on their own to fight enemy forces, or you can have them try and do the mission objective. I'd rather do that one myself. In any case, let's show that this game isn't just about having dogfights over the ocean. This one's pretty cool.
Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Take off. Altitude too low. Flying.
Caution.
On our left. Up ahead. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Post. Bogey on our tail. On our left. Up ahead. Fire. Shoot him down. Jesus. On our right. Bogey on our tail. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Take off. Enemy locked on target. Fire. Shoot him down. Jesus. Miss. Bogey on our tail. Bogey on our 6. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Enemy targets located. Up ahead. On our left. Bogey on our 6. Take off. Enemy in sight. Bogey on our 6. Up ahead. Bogey. Take off. Bogey on our tail. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, that's one of those missions where you have stationary targets, and if you just focus on them, you can probably beat the mission in a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops. I chose to take a few extra enemies down, especially those new ground-to-air missile launchers you saw. Those things can be dangerous in some missions, including the next one we'll be coming up against here. I think that might be our last full one we do. I might do one more after that. We'll see. This game's pretty fun, but I don't just want to play and, straight on through an hour and a half, 2 hours and beat it. Not for this series anyway. But man, this is the game that made me want to record the whole PS1 launch lineup. And it's kind of obvious why. It's just a blast to play. We have a selection of 2 missions now, and I think this time we're going to go in order. Let's go hit up the pipelines, literally.
Reconnaissance indicates a weak link in their fuel supply infrastructure. A single pipeline transfers all crude oil from their fields to their refinery. Strike both the pipeline and the refinery. Target, oil refinery plant and oil field. Use the pipeline as a reference to the refinery. Locate and destroy.
So as you can see, we've got another mission here where we don't have too much intel on what's going on out here. Yeah, we've got a center base and all that, but how the heck are we supposed to figure out where all the targets are? Well, I guess we're going to have to find out the answer once we get going. First things first, though, we're going to take out that center base and see how it goes. After that, who knows? I will say this, though. This stage is for those of you that have good 3D navigational skills. And, you know what? That might not be me.
Ready? Break now! Enemy in sight. Enemy target located. Enemy locked on target. Bogey at 12 o'clock. On our right. Bogey on our 6. Low.
Caution. Low altitude.
Take off. Enemy in sight. Enemy targets located. Enemy locked on target.
Caution.
Enemy locked on us. Missile approaching. Dive! Dive!
On it, coach. Yeesh, the CO sometimes, I'm telling you. Any case, obviously our first mission objective here is to take down everything in the central hub. And then those pipelines you see attached to this hub, well, we're going to go following those and seeing if there are other bases to take down. I think in most cases there are, but there's one that isn't, and when I was playing this, a couple times I kept winding up and going back to it. Kind of lose my focus sometimes on the 3D aspect when it's pretty much a desert like this. Oops. But yeah, we took that one down, and now we can start chasing the pipeline and seeing where it goes. I do remember, though, that when I was playing this mission, I focused more on the threats around it because I've already been hit a couple of times, and it's like, okay, that's enough of that. Especially these surface enemies, because those things can just light you up. Still, eventually we'll focus on the targets. But yeah. Well, we've got a few minutes before this mission's over, and that's even before I cut out a couple minutes where I got lost. What can you say about air combat, man? Other than this game is really good for 1995. There's some competition, like I said, on the 3DO, but both of those games are slower in the frame rate, slower in the gameplay. This one just feels smooth as silk when you're flying this thing. And even better, you know, the planes have some heft to them, so certain ones turn a little slower, but you get a little more pop to them. The smaller ones, you can go faster. Sometimes they have stronger missiles going for them because of the force they can shoot them out, I guess. I'm not sure what's up with that. But what I'm saying is, this game has a lot of variety in terms of the planes you can use, as we're seeing here and in the city before this mission. Variety in the missions. It's got a lot going for it. And if I didn't say it already, and forgive me because this is being recorded 2 different days, it's been 90, 95 degrees out, and that gets a little hot to record in where you don't want to, is that this game, Air Combat, Ace Combat, whatever you want to call it, is the main reason I wanted to do the whole PlayStation launch lineup deal, because some of these games, they're not hidden gems, they're just flat out gems. And Air Combat is near the top of the game. And besides, I had already played one game in this series previously, like I said, on the 3DS, even though we own like 4 or 5 of them. Sheesh. I think those numbers are going to be going up soon. I haven't taken this one down yet since recording. This was one of the first ones I did. I've got to say, you know, I had a real blast playing it. I'm going to give the grade near the end. It's not going to be perfect because there are some issues with it. Some textures look real weird. And I'm not talking about the desert here where it's just like you can't tell where you're going because, again, it's a desert. It's supposed to look like this. But, you know, some of those missions over the ocean kind of looked a little weird. AI's a little more basic. Both, like, mostly the enemy just flying at you, and you saw how some of them weren't shooting us. Even in the first mission, you'd expect them to take a couple of pot shots here and there. And they do, but you're never in any real danger. I do know the difficulty's picking up, though. Probably why I'm calling it after this one. So, you know, there are a couple things that will get refined as the series goes on. But when you start thinking about it in 1995, what this one was like... Oh, by the way, when you have a red indicator on the radar, that means a missile is locked onto you. Better get out of the way, quick. We almost didn't and lost the mission right there. I'm sure the CEO is going to give us a mouthful when we get back. But still, like I was saying, Air Combat, Ace Combat, whatever you want to call it, for 1995, this is definitely flying high over the competition. I wouldn't say it's quite acing everything yet, but that's for future installments of this.
Enemy targets located. Enemy in sight. Enemy locked on target. Enemy targets located.
Let's see if we can find that last refinery here. I think we're about to have ourselves a little jump cut to do so, because this is the part where I got lost for a couple minutes. Y'all don't need to see that. Instead, let's just fly into our last target, get this taken care of, and then
Enemy in sight.
see if we're going to be calling it here or try to do one more. I'll be honest, this one's been a real quick ride. There we go, we finally flew to the right of those towers instead of left. And sure enough, that was the last one.
Accomplished.
I was pretty happy about taking down 5 missions here. There are 17 in the game overall, from what I read. Like I said, we're not going to be... wow, that is a lot of money. Yeah, you can tell I was kind of messing around a little bit and being like, well, where do we go? I was going to do another mission, but, well, I'm just going to say it right now. My CO chewed me out when I got back to base, and, I got benched. They wound up picking a new pilot to take over as the lead for the squadron. He was a sniper in the army back in the day. Name was, Joey, I think. What a weird name for a sniper, huh? They even bought a stealth jet for him for this next mission, and he was going to put it to good use. I guess it makes sense, but... man, I wish it was me out there. Especially since he's going to break the numerical order we were in. Oh, whatever. And good luck, dude. You're probably going to need it.
The enemy's ADCRS, Air Defense Command and Radar System, has been identified. We can expect a steep drop in enemy effectiveness if this site is destroyed. The enemy has an effective SAM kill zone around the target. Its one weak point is a narrow ravine leading to the base. This requires precision, nap of the earth flying. Target, enemy radar site. You have no effective countermeasures to this model of SAM. Exit the ravine and you are toast.
This is a risky mission. Definitely not one for a new pilot like this, even as good as he thinks he is. I don't know. This just has disaster written all over it. Mainly because I can see there's only like 2 minutes left in the video. Oh no. You're going to bring a stealth fighter into a... but they know you're coming. Forget it.
Ready? Break now.
Aw, man, he even gets the cool music. Should have been me doing this mission. Oh well. In all seriousness, Air Combat is one of my favorite games I've done for this series so far. And when I say that, I mean I'm close to finishing with all the recordings at this point. In fact, I think there's only one game that can really challenge it, and it's another one by Namco themselves. We'll see that one when we get there. In the meantime, we are going to get to our grade in just a minute, but I think you know what's about to happen, so how about I be quiet and just let Sniper Joe show his stuff, huh?
Enemy locked on target. Fire! Shoot down! Attack one! Enemy target located. Enemy in sight.
And so Sniper Joe learned that his shielded stealth fighter was no match for a rock. Man. Air Combat's great, and it is getting a B+ from me. This is a top-tier title no matter how you cut it. It's not Ace's Wild, but it is the next best thing, and probably going to be the best thing the PS1 has until the sequel. And now that we've had our flight, next time we're gonna fight, because Battle Arena Toshinden is coming your way. Step into the arena, and try not to fall out of it like we just did. Oh, for crying out loud.